Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a personal story that's a bit different from my usual content, but one I think you'll find incredibly valuable. We're going to talk about a journey I started 7 years ago, a journey that began with a 5-figure investment and ended with me tripling my money. And the vehicle for this journey? Gold. Now, before we dive in, let me be crystal clear. This is my personal experience. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is about sharing what I learned, the mistakes I made, and the mindset that helped me succeed. My goal is to demystify this type of investment and give you some food for thought for your own financial journey. So, let's rewind the clock 7 years. The world felt a bit uncertain, the stock market was making me nervous, and I was looking for a way to protect my savings. I had managed to put aside a decent chunk of cash, a 5-figure sum that I was terrified of losing. I'd read about gold being a safe haven, a store of value that has been trusted for thousands of years. It wasn't about making a quick profit. It was about preservation. I spent months, and I mean months, doing my homework. I read books, watched documentaries, and followed economists who specialized in precious metals. I learned about the difference between physical gold, like coins and bars, and paper gold, like ETFs or mining stocks. For me, the appeal was in holding something tangible. I wanted to be able to see and touch my investment. It felt more real, more secure. So, I decided to go with physical gold. The next hurdle was figuring out what to buy and where to buy it. There are so many options: American Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, Krugerrands from South Africa, not to mention simple gold bars. I learned that coins often carry a slightly higher premium over the spot price of gold because of their minting costs and collectability, but they can also be easier to sell in smaller quantities. I decided on a mix of 1-ounce gold coins from reputable government mints. Why? Because they are easily recognizable, trusted worldwide, and simple to verify. This is super important. The market is full of fakes, so buying from a trusted, well-reviewed dealer is non-negotiable. I vetted several dealers online, checked their reviews, and even called them to ask questions. You have to do your due diligence. I can't stress this enough. Once I found a dealer I trusted, I placed my order. I'll never forget the feeling when that discreet, insured package arrived. Holding that first gold coin in my hand was a powerful moment. It felt heavy, substantial. It didn't represent just money. It represented security, history, and a piece of my future that I was protecting from inflation and market volatility. After that initial purchase, my strategy was simple: hold. This wasn't a stock I was going to day trade. Gold is a long-term play. For the first couple of years, the price didn't do much. It went up a little, down a little. Friends who were all in on tech stocks were seeing massive gains, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a little bit of FOMO, the fear of missing out. There were times I questioned my decision. Was this lump of shiny metal really the best place for my money? This is where discipline comes in. Investing, especially in something like gold, is a mental game. You have to stick to your original thesis. My thesis was that in a world of increasing debt and money printing, a finite asset like gold would eventually have its day. I wasn't trying to time the market. I was betting on a long-term trend. So I ignored the short-term noise. I didn't check the price every day. I stored my gold securely and focused on living my life and building my other income streams. Then, things started to change. Global economic uncertainty began to creep in. Trade tensions, political instability, and eventually, the massive economic response to the global pandemic. All of this created a perfect storm for gold. As governments and central banks around the world printed unprecedented amounts of money to stimulate their economies, investors started looking for a safe harbor. They were worried about inflation devaluing their cash, and they flocked to gold. Slowly but surely, the price started to climb. First, it was a steady rise, then it accelerated. My initial investment, which had been sitting quietly for years, began to grow significantly. The 5 figures I had invested were now worth much more. It was validating to see my research and patience pay off. The feeling wasn't one of frantic excitement like you might get from a hot stock. It was a sense of calm confirmation. My plan had worked. Around the 7-year mark, the value of my gold holdings had effectively tripled from my initial investment cost. It was an incredible result, far beyond my initial goal of simply preserving my capital. At this point, I had to make another decision. What to do now? Do I sell? Do I hold? This is just as important as the decision to buy. You need an exit strategy. My goal wasn't to hold on to the gold forever. I saw it as a tool to build wealth that I could then use for other things. I decided to sell a portion of my holdings, not all of it, but enough to take my original investment off the table, plus a healthy profit. This is a classic strategy. Secure your principal and let the house money ride. Selling was surprisingly easy because I had bought recognizable government-minted coins. I went back to a reputable dealer, they verified the coins, and the money was in my bank account within a few days. The cash I unlocked from that sale has since been used to fund other projects and investments, including this very YouTube channel you're watching. So, what are the key takeaways from my 7-year gold journey? First, education is everything. Don't invest a single dollar into something you don't understand. Spend the time to learn the ins and outs. Second, buy physical and buy from a reputable source. The peace of mind you get from knowing your investment is real and secure is priceless. Don't fall for too good to be true deals. Third, have a long-term mindset. Gold is not for day traders. It's a store of value and a hedge against uncertainty. You need patience and the discipline to ride out the quiet years. And finally, have an entry and an exit plan. Know why you're buying and know when you might consider selling. Whether it's to rebalance your portfolio, fund a down payment on a house, or simply take profits, having a plan prevents you from making emotional decisions. This journey taught me so much about finance, but even more about patience and conviction. It showed me the power of thinking differently and not just following the crowd. While everyone was chasing the next hot tech stock, a quiet, ancient metal was steadily securing my financial future. I hope hearing about my personal experience has been helpful and maybe even a little inspiring. It shows that with research, patience, and a clear strategy, you can make smart moves to protect and grow your wealth. What are your thoughts on gold as an investment? Have you ever considered it? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to start a conversation. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you do not miss our future videos on building wealth and living a better life. Until next time, invest wisely and stay curious.